Before the world sees your wins, your soul has to feel your work. It's the reps nobody applauds that produce the wins that do, all through a shifting of your identity into a dominator. This is all done in the dark every single day. So let me be your guide as I welcome you to this episode of the Dark Work Daily. We're here. I'm going to state this one quick. We'll get into it. You got worse before you got better. Think about anything in your life that you have gotten great at. You got worse before you got better. You know, if you wanted to lift weights, you might have got worse, got injured, went downhill, been sore right before you got better. Want to be great at the, the trombone. At some point you started out, you kind of sucked. Then you got better. You want to be great in school. You started something new, you usually sucked, and you got better. This whole journey of success, it's the idea that growth is not a linear process. We love it all to be that way. We all enjoy it to be just a straightforward path, but it's like the stock market ticker, man. It goes up and goes down. There are going to be many dips on the path to your climb. If you think about going, like I've hiked, there's this thing called, Round Rock, some like hiking places near my home. And when you go down the switchbacks, some of them go down and they go uphill and they go, sideways and they go, it's always a matter of going up and down and around. They're not all perfectly straight uphill. Sometimes there is going to be a falling back down or a dip or a valley before you get to the top of the mountain. If I'm climbing mountains, I'm going to go up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain, right? I'm making progress, but it's an up and down journey. And when you start doing the work to grow in some manner, you need to realize that that's going to be part of the process. Honestly, right now in one of my companies, I'm in the middle of a dip. It's not fun, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be that way forever. In fact, I've already found like some great insights to how we got there and what we adjust and how we move out of it. And I think it's going to be great long-term because of that. But when you start doing the dark work, your old identity will fight back against you, the weaker part of you that complains about the difficulty. The submitter complains about what's happening. But there is a need for that awkward phase where nothing feels good or natural yet, because it lets you know you're making progress. It lets you know you're on a journey somewhere. When I started my gym business, I years and years ago, opened this bad boy up, got things moving, found myself in a situation where I was starting out. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had no clue. And I had some money, and I bought some equipment, and I honestly bought the cheapest stuff I could find. It was not gym quality equipment. It was like rickety stuff you get from the store. I put it in there. It was bad. It did not look the part. I didn't know any better, man. And so I put the stuff in and started building the gym, and little by little we added more and added more and added more, and I could find some money here and there. I put more money into it. But it started out where I had some money, and then it just went downhill. I found myself at one point in time bankrupt, almost bankrupt, not fully, but I got to the point where I had no money to pay bills. I had debt that I couldn't handle. And I was looking at the option of just filing bankruptcy and moving forwards. Would have sucked. Really would have sucked. And the idea is that I had to find a place to get to language-wise where I was able to tell myself what needed to be done. And I know for me, the one big piece that I had in place was this idea that everything is supposed to be great in the business side. You do this, you're just all uphill. But I looked back to my world in football and realized not the case. If you want it to be easy all the time, that's just stupid. It's an idiotic thought, because you are going to need the muscles later for bigger dips. You're going to need the muscles later for what is hard, and you're going to need to fight the part of you that wants it to be easy. It's just the nature of growth in any aspect for things to go downhill. In this gym business, I found myself bankrupt. That was a catalyst to my growth. I started out, I felt good, couldn't pay bills for a while, went downhill, found out what I had to fix, moved myself back up, eventually was able to get investors, grow it to a bigger business, sell the business, and grow into bigger things. I cannot imagine I would be where I'm at today if I didn't have that window of time where I was almost bankrupt. I would not have the ability to have the muscles to handle what this career is easily, to be honest, if I didn't have that situation going on. And so when you start looking at the growth you want to have, you need to be prepared for the up and down journey. It's going to operate kind of like a stock market, man. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. You're going to have good days, you have bad days. But those are just the things you have to put up with. It's just a part of it. But it's because it's like the license. It's like the permitting. I just recently did this whole, it's called class and everything to get my concealed carry weapons permit. And the permit takes you going through and painstakingly learn some things, practicing things, going to the range, doing a whole process. And in this journey, in this whole entire process, the whole back and forth of it all, we'll call it, you get a lot of insights to navigate, and you learn along the journey. It's how you get the permit to be able to carry. In business, if you want like a business, called life permit, you got to go through the ups and the downs, man. The class of business isn't an actual class. It's literally like you go to work, you do the thing, you learn from life. Life teaches you things that weren't the funnest to learn, but they taught you. And then from there you progress on. And most people, they want that wisdom. They want that insight without having the experience. I don't know in the business world if you get that, because the experience is what gives you common peace and chaos. It lets you realize that this too shall pass. You end up learning that this is just a stage of the process path to get where you want to get to. It's all par for the course. And when you can embrace that, when you can accept that, you actually start to step into a light that's different and better and more enjoyable. So even in the headaches, you feel blessed in the headaches. Even the downfalls, you feel like it makes sense for the downfalls. But if you don't, man, you just step into some space. Like when a kid, takes over their parents' business, they don't have the muscles their parents had. Their parents built that. You're just running it. And the problem is if you take it over and you weren't around during the build or around to watch the headaches, you will lose it. Not because you want to, because it just will happen. I at one point sold my gym business to somebody. It was running perfectly smooth, like a top. It was on. In 9 months, this person managed to kill the whole business. Why? Everything was there you needed, because there's a different person behind the steering wheel, someone else driving the machine. When you get yourself in the right position and you're the right person in that position, then you'll have success. If not, you're not going to drive off into an amazing trip. You're going to drive off a cliff. So don't seek success through a journey that's only upwards. Seek success through a journey that has up and down, because you really need to have those downwards dips in order to have the most amazing highs. It's all out there for you. But keep in mind, it's going to get worse before it gets better. If this episode stirred something in you, good. That means there's work to be done. Don't ignore it, because listening is just the beginning. Because real change happens when you engage and you commit. So I invite you to join the Dark Work community inside the Dark Work app, which is where you communicate with amazing people on the same journey as you. You can find them on the App Store and the Google Play Store right now. Step into the conversations that sharpen your habits, strengthen your identity, and keep you locked in to the Dark Work.